Hey guys, welcome to today's episode. Today we're going to be talking about feeling lonely as a creative or musician and how that's okay. And you don't always need something to fill in that time. But anyway, guys, let's get into the video. So, you're feeling lonely as a creative. I've been going through that today and for a decent amount of time myself. And sometimes I do feel lonely. What I used to do is just fill up my time so much that I didn't even have time to feel lonely. There wasn't a second of the day where I wasn't doing something. And so I kind of avoided the problem. But the more I realize it, the more it's okay to feel alone sometimes. I don't feel alone all the time. It's just sometimes. I think that's okay. Yeah. As as creatives or just in life in general, I feel like a lot of people, and I used to myself as well, feel that I always needed somebody with me all the time. Not like a babysitter, but I had to be with friends, or I had to be with a significant other, or I had to be with my family all the time. And that's all good. It's totally fine. If in any of those situations, it's totally fine. But what I'm saying is that if you ever find yourself in a situation where you feel like you need almost like a drug, somebody else's presence. One, I personally, and you guys may disagree with me, I'm just speaking from my experience, I don't think that's healthy. And what I used to do in the past is I used to use either experiences, most of the time it was just people, as a crutch for my own, so I wouldn't have to do any personal growth. I would just completely lean on somebody else, whether that's a friend, whether that's a significant other, whether that's my family, extended family, people like that. I would just lean on them constantly to fill up my own reserves so I would not feel lonely anymore. And the more the times go on, and the more time I've spent here in Vancouver and in this room for a frankly probably ridiculous amount of hours, the more I realize that feeling lonely and feeling sad is okay. Like in the past video, in the first video in this series where I said it's okay to not be okay sometimes. That's totally fine. And feeling lonely, I think, is one of those feelings. And if you find yourself where you're sad and you feel like, okay, well, maybe, and again, this is just from my own perspective, if you guys don't agree, that's totally fine. That's what makes every human being incredible, that we're all so different. But if you find yourself in a situation where you feel like, okay, well, to solve my problem, I need somebody else. And okay, I'm gonna backstep a little bit. In some situations, it's okay to seek out the help of other people. What I'm more talking about is I feel empty. Let me fill that emptiness with a human being. Let me fill that emptiness with something else, whether that's candy, food, I don't know, drugs, alcohol. If you're feeling that feeling, I think the most important thing you can do is learn to spend time with yourself and learn to appreciate who you are. And that's one thing that's taken me a really long time, and I'm still working on it, is just learning to appreciate who you intrinsically are. And I think especially nowadays, it's really hard to find any time where you can just be quiet and it's kind of scary to some people. It was scary to me, just being alone. And it is still kind of scary to a certain extent. It's you can run away from your problems, from the people around you. You can isolate yourself in a cabin in the middle of nowhere and speak to nobody for the rest of your life, but you're still with one other person, and he's up here and he's always talking. At least for me, you can't escape this person up here. So I think if you have a chance, try to learn to appreciate being with you. And one thing I learned from traveling, and I want to do more of this, and I want to do this now, but I mean, quarantine and COVID and stuff, is just learn to appreciate people. And one thing I love the most about traveling was just meeting people of all different types of life, who more often than not had different opinions, different values, a different belief system maybe than me. And I think that's beautiful. And I know this conversation has maybe morphed into something far away from loneliness, but I think it's a very similar thing. Just learn to well, it's more difficult than I'm saying, but I think a really powerful move in order to try to accomplish that, in order to not defeat the feeling of loneliness, but I think solve a whole lot of problems that a lot of people in our generation are having. And again, this is talking from my own experience. You might not have this, but I definitely do and did, is just learning to be okay with being in here with yourself. And yeah, I don't know what else to say, guys. But anyway, let me know if you guys like this episode. If you have any other topics you want me to cover, please let me know. Next week, I'm going to be doing a kind of mystery tour of a place that we've recently acquired. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching this episode. I hope you enjoyed it, and I will catch you next time for a different video. Peace.